and gentlemen, welcome back to the Front Row Access Podcast. I am your host, Steven Russo.
Anthony Gonzalez.
Let's fucking get it. Sorry, guys, I did not upload the Survivor Series podcast at all. Ash on me. But
You'd be slipping.
I do be slipping. I missed a big 4 PLE. Yeah, I died. This is terrible, guys. But Survivor Series was really good. Ant, what did you think of Survivor Series last weekend?
I thought it was really great. I did want to see the final boss. Was a bit upset he didn't show up.
I thought he would. Like, how are you going to make him come back? A fucking bad blood, right?
Look at that.
And then just does the 1, 2, 3 thing, slices his neck, and then just fucking rides off into the sunset, never to be seen again. I thought for sure he would have been involved with this match somehow, but, you know, he's The Rock. He's on his own schedule.
He's going to show up with Cena at whatever the next PLE is.
Yeah, but do we want to see Rock versus Cena 3?
No, we don't want to see that, but I'm just wondering if they're trying to get all their eggs in one basket.
Yeah, maybe we get him back at the Day 1 episode of Monday Night Raw. Or the first, or the New Year's Revolution episode of Friday Night SmackDown. So,
I mean, he is the most electrifying man in SmackDown, so.
Yeah, for real. But, you know, he didn't fucking show up at Survivor Series. But, you know, the OG Bloodline came up on top. Excellent match. We had Roman Reigns doing a crossbody. We had Jimmy Uso doing a fucking whisper in the wind.
That sky to surface missile was definitely.
The sky to surface missile at in the women's War Games match. I still think the wrong people won for that match. I don't think that the heel should have won. I don't think the babyface should have won that match.
I think that they did a disservice to L.A. Knight.
Yeah. Fucking giving Shinsuke a title shot right off the rip.
In 2-minute match.
And it was
I'll do 3 moves and win.
And that was it. But I think LA Knight's going to move to Raw. He's going to go on to bigger and better things now. I think he's going to try to start chasing the main event shit.
And as we're talking this, y'all should pop a do too.
Y'all should pop a do. We got the tame kind, and then we also got YouTube. Before you fucking destroy my video and take me down, I am 21 plus. I have hard Mountain Dew as well. It's been that kind of a week, y'all. So
But it's got 0 sugar?
Yep, there is 0 sugar in it. So, you know, Pepsi hit us up. Our business email address is frontrowaccess15@gmail.com. You can also find all of our social media profiles. We're on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, not Facebook, because fuck Facebook. All right.
Shit, how many podcasts do we got left this year?
Like, maybe 3.
And one's probably going to be the baddest motherfucker.
We also have to do the FRA Awards
And,
for the Knockout of the Year, our submission of the year.
And we've also got Linkin Park review.
Yeah, we also have Linkin Park to do. Yeah. There's our next 3 episodes right there. So, yeah, there we go. But, you know, Survivor Series was fun. I'm so sorry I didn't get that podcast out. But, you know, we got a pay-per-view this weekend. If I went back on my promise for giving you a podcast for the Big 4, I'm going to keep my promise of all the UFC pay-per-views covered in this video. So, we're going to get right into UFC 310. I've been calling it 311 this whole time, but it's because 311's main event got confirmed. We're going to start with the news before we go into 310. UFC 311, man, is looking pretty fucking solid. I'm going to be honest. The main event is going to be Arman Tsarukyan versus Islam Makhachev for the lightweight title. In the co-main event, we have our bantamweight champion, newly minted, Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov. Also on the card, we have, I'm looking at it right now, Beneil Dariush and Renato Moicano. Dariush is back after getting absolutely fucking sent by Arman last December. And we also have Yuri Prohaska and Jamal Hill on UFC 311. And our opener is going to be Kevin Holland versus Reign de Ritter.
Damn, that's packed.
That is a packed fucking main card. In our featured prelim as we speak right now is Johnny Walker and Bogdan Guskov. And we also have appearances from Jailton Almeida on the prelims, as well as Peyton Talbot, who's one of my most intriguing guys that I'm looking at right now at 135. He's young. He's crazy. He's been winning all of his fights by finish. And, you know, yeah, I'm looking forward to see what he does for this fight, because he's stepping up the competition here. He's going against Randy Barcelos. Randy's a pretty good fighter. He's been around for a while. So this will be Peyton Talbot's test. He is 9-0. Let's see if he can make it 10-0 against him. But that's 311, guys. That won't be for a while. So we're going to go over 310 now. And I want to start by just overviewing the card. Early prelims, we have Chris Weidman as the featured early prelim versus Eric Anders. I believe this is Chris Weidman's last fight. I do not think he will be returning after this. The guy has just not looked the same since he came back from that horrific leg injury that he suffered back in 2021. And he's also really old. He's not as fast as he once was. This guy that knocked out Anderson Silva, I don't think is there anymore. I think Chris Weidman hangs it up after this fight. What do you think, Ant?
I would hope so, because I don't like people overstaying their welcome. And a lot of what it is with UFC fighters is the drive they have to keep going. And at some point, you get tired of getting hit.
And then you just can't do it no more. And then that's when you say, I'm out. Deuces. We also have Michael Chiesa versus Max Griffin on this card as well. You think Michael Chiesa hangs it up after this?
I don't think as much as Weidman does, yeah. But I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah, that'd be sad, though, honestly. That'd be really sad. But, here are these guys that, killed it back in their day. And, well, and we also have Chris Weidman on here who, I shit you not, guys. Sorry, I got a text message and fucking distracted me. I will tell you guys, Chris Weidman back in the day knocked out Anderson Silva. He's a former champion. The guy is an excellent wrestler, but I just don't think he's going to win this fight. I think he's going to lose. I think he's going to retire, unfortunately. But I think it's best for him. But Michael Chiesa actually, I think, has a chance against Max Griffin. He might end up going on a 2-fight winning streak after this, because he is coming off a win versus Tony Ferguson. So, Tony Ferguson. Tony! Anyway. Back to the prelims. So this is the early prelims. They'll start at 6 p.m. They are on UFC Fight Pass or ESPN Plus. They will not be on ESPN the network, but the prelim card will be on ESPN the network. So if you have cable television or YouTube TV or something like that, you're going to be able to watch the prelims without having to buy the service. So that's pretty cool, and you actually have a really nice prelim card coming at you. So they have Randy Brown and Brian Battle. We have Movsar Voyev and Aljamain Sterling on the fucking prelims, which is insane. We have Vicente Luque and Themba Gorimbo. And we also have Dominic Reyes and Anthony Smith. And I want to talk about Brian Battle for a second. The dude missed weight this week. I think he missed it by 3 pounds. Yeah, so that's a rough one. But Brian Battle has been making some fucking waves lately. I mean, obviously, he's coming off of his big win that he got at UFC Paris. And walked out to Jay-Z and Kanye's song. Yeah, I will not say it on the air. But he walked out to Jay-Z and Kanye's
gorillas
song. In Paris. So, Randy Brown's also been here for a long time. He's been fighting since God fucking forever ago. So, I mean, this is a pretty good fight for Brian Battle. I think this would be enough to give him some more experience, because I am intrigued by what Brian Battle will do. And I have a very, bright future. I feel like a bright future is ahead for the welterweight division. We have Shavkat Rakhmonov on here, which he's also on the card, and he's also in this new wave of welterweights. We have Brian Battle, we have Ian Gary, we have all these guys.
But where the fuck's Usman?
Usman's just Usman, man. Usman's quasi-retired. I think he's got 1 fucking fight left in him, and that's about it. Maybe 2. But I think his next one, personally, just to not tarnish his legacy any further, win or loss, I think it should be his last.
Or if he wins the title.
That would be crazy. I wouldn't mind him beating on Bilal Muhammad at all, honestly.
Because, I mean, he lost the title, yeah, and he lost a rematch for it, but that doesn't mean he can't go up against the champion. Yeah, if you have a big enough name.
Which Kamaru Usman does. I mean, you're looking at the former pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world. I mean, just 3 years ago, guys, Usman was at the top of his game.
Oh, yeah.
Dude was running shit. Locked down. Hey, he had the welterweight division locked down during lockdown. Yeah, Kamaru Usman, man, height of his ability just a few years ago. So I think he's still game as hell. I hope he's got another run left in him, or at least one more fight.
After Edwards, didn't he get a double knee surgery?
Yeah, they've been recovering from that shit.
I don't think we've seen him come back since, and I'm wondering if he's...
No, he went against Hamzat, remember? And then he lost, though...
that was short notice, and he did look good.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's fantasy booking, though. I am very excited for the future of welterweight. Jack Della Maddalena is also a welterweight. So I think in the next, 3 years or so, welterweight will be at the same level that bantamweight and 155 are on right now. I mean, it's already kind of teeter-tottering right near it, you know. But the old guard of welterweight is slowly dissipating. I mean, we have Colby Covington fighting on a fight night, but he doesn't have much left in him.
Fuck you, Covington. You never show.
And then Kamaru Usman isn't coming up a lot. Leon Edwards is getting a little old now. I mean, the Gilbert Burns is pretty much gone now.
But he'll always be there.
Mm-hmm. So I think the old guard of welterweight is starting to fade, and now we're gonna see this, and I'm excited to see what the new blood does in welterweight. And Brian Battle is part of the prospects that I'm really looking forward to seeing more from. Although, dude, why the fuck did you miss weight? What the fuck?
I really, I can understand half a pound. I can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Anything more than that, you're just slacking.
For realsies. I mean, weight cuts are brutal. Sometimes doctors will stop them. But, regardless though. Moving on. We also have Movsar Voyev and Aljamain Sterling on the fucking prelims. Let's talk about that fight real quick. Oh, yeah, by the way, I think Brian Battle's actually going to beat Randy Brown, despite him missing weight, so.
Yeah, I like Battle for this, too.
Randy Brown's great. I love Randy Brown, but I just don't think he's going to beat Battle. Battle looks a little too good right now.
He looks very good.
And Movsar Voyev and Aljamain Sterling, we have a former bantamweight champion on the prelims. And, I mean, he's been winning his featherweight fights lately. He beat Calvin Kattar. He beat Rob Font. The guy's doing pretty good. But he just doesn't win in very impressive ways. He backpacks his way to victory. So, therefore, he's not a very fan-friendly fighter. But, whatever gets the job done, man. And we also have this guy, Movsar Voyev, this crazy Russian motherfucker. He's 18-0, one of the only undefeated fighters remaining in the UFC. And, yo, man, this dude's a fucking problem. The way that I've seen this guy win his fights, it's just pure domination. It's pure domination, and he could finish people, too. So I'm like, yo, this kid is like what Ilia Topuria was to me. This fucking dark horse of the featherweight division just last year, and sure enough, excuse me again.
I'm on the edge of my seat for that Topuria Volk fight.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Edge of my seat.
And plus Topuria knocking out Volkanovski and Max Holloway back to back in the same year is sad for us as fans of both Volkanovski and Max Holloway, but is super impressive coming from Ilia Topuria. So, I mean, good on Ilia, man. He's had a fucking great year. To our dismay, but he has had a fucking wonderful year. This fight is going to be, it's a battle of wrestlers. Movsar Voyev and Aljamain Sterling are both more wrestling-heavy fighters. So I think this fight's going to play out on the feet. And if we're in a striking battle, give me fucking Movsar. The dude has fucking smoke in his hands. And I just don't think he's got that same smoke that Aljo's got. So, I'm going to be honest, guys. I think Movsar Voyev is going to be stopping Aljamain Sterling in his tracks. Because, I mean, Aljo's been doing good with featherweight lately, but he's also been fighting people that fit his fighting style. He faced off against Rob Font and Calvin Kattar. They're boxers. They're not even kickboxers, bro. They're boxers. They're boxers that know how to wrestle. That's about it. And he ragdolled them all. So, I honestly think Movsar Voyev is going to stop Aljamain in his tracks and beat him.
Me, I'm not a big Sterling fan, but I think I have him for this. I think he's gonna pull off a win, like he does. I don't think it's gonna be a stellar win that we're all gonna be talking about, but as a former champion, I can see him stopping an unbeaten streak.
Of Movsar Voyev, yeah, it's gonna be a good fight regardless. Which that's a fucking treat to have on the prelims, that fight. But yeah. That's a good fight. Vicente Luque and Themba Gorimbo, I don't really know who's going to win this because I don't really know much about Themba. So, I mean, I'm just going to say Vicente Luque just because I'd like to see him win.
Same, but only because I know a bit about Vicente Luque, not about the other guy.
Yeah, so, I mean, but I can't really give you a deep analysis of that fight. I think they're both strikers. So this fight's going to definitely play out on the feet.
I got this. the one in the octagon at the bell ring, one of those guys is going to win.
Yes. And then our featured prelim, which is also another treat. We have Dominic Reyes and Anthony Smith going at it on the featured prelim. Fucking Dominic Reyes is coming off his first win by knockout in like 5 years. This guy was like on a fucking total downward spiral ever since taking the loss to John Jones, which he shouldn't have took. I watched that fight back 1,000 times and tried to even be a bias towards John Jones and score it for John Jones. John Jones did not win that fucking fight, okay?
Yeah, but he didn't have DWP.
Yeah, he didn't have that Dana White privilege, though, so, you know, Dana probably flipped the, hey man, here's some money. You give it to John, okay?
So, yeah, let's put Mike Bell on that judging card.
Yep, so, Dominic Reyes, after taking that L to John Jones back in early 2020, has been, it sent him on a downward spiral. He was on like a 4-fight losing streak, but when he came back, this time, his last time out, and he fucking knocked this guy out. I'm like, the Dominic Reyes of old, he's still here. He's still here. The guy that beat John Jones, because he did beat John Jones. I've watched that fight so many times, and I still don't know how they fucking scored that shit for John Jones. But, you know.
I'm more afraid of Jones.
Yeah, so Anthony Smith, I think, is coming off of a knockout loss, if I'm being honest with you. But Anthony Smith is also the type of fighter that he'll win some. But then he'll lose some. You know, it really fucking just depends if Anthony Smith decides to show up that day. If he does, Dominic Reyes could be in for a pretty bad night. I'm going to be honest with you, because, I mean, Dominic Reyes, although we got the rose-tinted glasses, yes, he won. He still got knocked out 4 times in a row, man. So, I mean, he still accrued all that damage, you know. But, if Anthony Smith shows up, I don't know. Could be a bad night for Dominic Reyes, but I think on every aspect of the fight, both on the feet and on the ground, I think Dominic Reyes just is better than Anthony Smith. So I'm probably going to go with the favorite here and go with Dominic Reyes.
I'm going to go with Anthony Smith here, only because, like our baddest motherfucker, where we're taking them at their prime, that's why Ferguson's on them and whatnot, in his prime, easily, Dominic Reyes has this. It's just, when time elapses and after some losses, one win isn't going to necessarily turn it around for you. It's not going to get me backing you up, and I do like Anthony Smith a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with him for this, but I'll give it like 65-35.
Yeah, I got you with that. And plus, I haven't told you guys the odds for any of these yet on the prelims card. Early prelims card, I'll tell you the odds, just because fuck it. Chris Weidman's a slight favorite to beat Eric Anders. And Michael Chiesa is a slight underdog against Max Griffin. And as far as the prelims are concerned, Brian Battle is the minus 230 favorite to Randy Brown's plus 190. Aljamain Sterling is the plus 205 underdog to the minus 250 favorite of Movsar Sarvoyev. Vicente Luque is the plus 136 underdog to the minus 162 for Themba Garimbo. And Dominic Reyes is the minus 340 favorite over Anthony Smith. So I'm going to take the favorite here. You're going to take the underdog. We'll see what happens on fight night. So it's going to be a good fight, though, regardless. I mean, we got 2 light heavyweights here that are known, that always show up, usually really reliable, always make weight, and always show up to fight, even if they fucking lose. But, you know, they're just good fighters.
Well, at least you don't blow your knees out from a jump.
Oh, God damn it, Chris Barnett. God damn it, Chris Barnett. We love Chris Barnett around here, but at the same time, man, why'd bro have to jump up and down? This man's like 300 pounds, or close to it. He can't be doing that shit, man. Anyway, on to the main card. We have Nate the Train Landwehr, who actually had a mad fucking hype train last year until it got fucking derailed by, I believe, Movsar Sarvoyev. And then we have Tuho Choi. That guy's been around since got fucking forever ago. He always puts on good fights. He's exciting. He's a do-or-die kind of fighter. So I'm really excited for that fight. We have Bryce Mitchell's back from the dead.
Back from the dead!
Bro saw God last December.
He has a turn!
And now he's coming back for a fight a whole year later, which I think was appropriate, honestly.
With his fucking camo pants.
With his camo pants, which I think is appropriate. You know, we'll go into that further when we go on to that fight. But
if anyone's wondering what we're talking about, just look up Bryce Mitchell's last
fight. We'll go into it later when we get to that fucking fight. But we also have Cyril Gane and Alexander Volkov. Both
Gane's
these
back.
Gane's back from the dead. So
Oh, didn't he win last time?
yeah, he did, but he just hasn't fought. And
He's not a
Alexander
frequent
Volkov,
fighter.
yeah, he fights like once a year. Cyril Gane, and he's spoiled by his talent. But goddamn it, he's good though. And we also have Alexander Volkov, who's the tallest fighter in the UFC. Bet y'all didn't know that. And they're both about the same kind of fighter, both Cyril Gane and Alexander Volkov. That should be an exciting fight. Now wait, this one is what I'm actually kind of most excited for. The main event's awesome too, but I'm kind of most excited for this one. This 5-round co-main event between Shavkat Rakhmonov, Shavkat Nomad Rakhmonov, and then Ian the Future Gary, are going at it. It's undefeated versus undefeated, y'all. Somebody's undefeated streak's going bye-bye.
Unless we had a tie.
Unless there's a tie. But I don't think there's going to be a tie with these guys. That's actually going to be a really good fight, in my opinion. And I'm super excited to see how a fighter like Ian Gary matches up against a fighter like Shavkat Rakhmonov and vice versa.
If a match becomes a no contest, does it still go as a loss?
No, it goes as a no contest.
So, I mean, unless it's a tie or a no contest, a streak will be ended.
Yep. And then, main event, Alessandro Pantoja, our current reigning and defending flyweight title, who continues to impress me with every single fight that he's in, is facing up against Kai Asakura, this rising star from Ryzen, who is an absolute fucking menace in Ryzen. I watched a couple of his highlights on like YouTube. It was like a little compilation of all his like best moments and best fights, and it was like, this is why Kai Asakura got a title shot, you know. So this guy's huge in Japan. He's got a fucking following like no other. He's like the Conor McGregor but Japan, you know.
Does he know Shinsuke?
Maybe, probably. Shinsuke Nakamura, our new United States champion, over on the WWE side of TKO. But no, this fight is going to be really fucking good. But we're gonna go into more detail about that. So,
I guess I should also mention, who was it? Was it Bilal? Yeah, Bilal. Remember the name? He was at the
He was at Survivor Series to cheer on CM Punk.
I'm actually just really glad to see more TKO like cross everything. I think Chandler
on Raw when he cut a promo against Gregor.
I like seeing the interactions between them. I also like seeing them separate. So keep those two things true, and we'll be very happy.
Bilal Muhammad. Well, it makes sense that he got the crowd cam. He's our current welterweight champion, after all. So, I mean, it makes sense. And plus, CM Punk even gave a shout-out to Bilal Muhammad back in July. He was like, before I say anything, I want to give a big shout-out to Bilal Muhammad. He just won the UFC welterweight title in England. You know, shit like that. CM Punk and Bilal Muhammad are training partners. CM Punk, although not a UFC fighter no more, and
no more keyword. He definitely was.
He was.
He definitely had matches that were official,
and they were terrible for him.
It definitely happened. I wasn't gonna tell him that part.
But nah, he still actively trains, just keep himself in shape. Plus, it helps with the cardio, helps with the even the wrestling stuff. You know, overall, it's just good. So they're teammates. So that's just a little fun fact there. All right, now let's talk about each one of these fights in a little bit more depth. So we have Nate the Train Landwehr and Doo-Ho Choi. Both of these guys got some hype. Doo-Ho Choi, I've seen more out of, because he's like I said, he's like a do or die kind of fighter. He's like, don't give a fuck. He gonna go in there and he gonna swing and he gonna swing. Nate the Train though, he hits like a fucking train. So
where did he get the nickname from?
Probably because he hits like a fucking train. And so this is his first fight back in a while. Doo-Ho Choi, I believe, has already fought 2 other times this year. So he's a very active fighter, Mr. Doo-Ho Choi. So that's why I think you guys taking the plus 120 underdog isn't a bad idea. I actually think Doo-Ho Choi has a solid chance against Nate Landwehr, and I'm actually going to choose him to win. So I'm going with Doo-Ho Choi to beat Nate the Train Landwehr on this one.
There's some up in the air about, so I'm just hoping it's an entertaining match.
It will be. They're both balls to the wall type of fighters. Now, on to this one. That's exciting. Bryce Mitchell and Kron Gracie. Bryce Mitchell's back from the dead, y'all. Back in last December, Bryce Mitchell got sent to Heaven's Gate by Josh Emmett. So
St. Peter was looking at his list. He's like, dude,
What?
you're not supposed to be here.
at least for another 20 years. He goes, what the fuck are you doing here? And then, no, I swear to God, if you go back last year, you watch that fight between Bryce Mitchell and Josh Emmett. Bryce Mitchell wasn't looking all that bad. To be honest, he was fighting a pretty good fight, and then Josh Emmett just has this superhuman power and just supreme timing. And you get timing mixed with power, and it's just a fucking nightmare, okay? And he hit this overhand right, this mean fucking overhand right. It sent fucking Bryce Mitchell to the floor, crumbling to the floor. And then bro was at Heaven's Gate. I fucking swear. He started seizing. He got hit so hard in the head. It was so bad. Dude was convulsing on the fucking ground after getting knocked out. It was fucking scary. Like, dude, that was probably the closest I think I've ever seen to somebody dying in the octagon. So I was like, OMG, yo, Josh Emmett's got crazy power, man.
And Strickland was coming down the ramp with a goddamn nurse outfit and a medikit to get Bryce back up because he gets that first kill.
Oh my God, it was just insane, dude. And I think it was totally appropriate that Bryce Mitchell took a whole year out after that. I would have too. Bro, you got sent to God. Like, just chill for a little bit. Chill on your farm. Chill with your son. You know? Do your thing. And come back when you're ready. I honestly would have been fine if he waited until, like, early next year to come back. That was a scary fucking knockout.
Literally, this is the type of hand that people are trying to emphasize when they say, I'm gonna introduce you to your father.
Dude.
Just, boom.
But, dude, I was so happy to see that Bryce Mitchell's back and he's healthy. I mean, Bryce Mitchell, he's a unique guy. I can't say I like everything he says, but,
Very
like,
unique.
he's a very unique guy. But, like, he's a charming person. I kind of just find myself enjoying his presence on UFC fight nights and whatnot. So, he's always fun to watch. Plus, he fought a court case to get fucking camo shorts. All these motherfuckers getting custom shorts now. He was the first one to get custom shorts, and he had to win them shits in a legal battle.
Yes, sir.
But he did it. Like, shout out to him for fucking getting through it. But obviously, Bryce Mitchell here is the minus 800 favorite. I think he's the heaviest favorite on the card. And Kron Gracie, he hasn't been around for all that long. He's pretty good at jiu-jitsu. And he's got some decent striking. But I think Bryce Mitchell's got this, guys. I think Bryce Mitchell gonna win this comeback fight and start preaching the Bible to the fucking crowd, probably. So, you know, I'm taking Bryce Mitchell to beat Kron Gracie here.
I got Bryce Mitchell for this too, but I think he's gonna preach about the flat Earth.
Think he's gonna talk about flat Earth?
Yeah.
I think he's just gonna start preaching the Bible. I think he's gonna bring his Bible down to the fucking octagon. I think he's gonna read a passage out that bitch.
Like, last year I met our one true savior. He
So-
said, "Get your ass out of here."
And
Boy,
he
it ain't
blessed
no
me.
time.
He blessed me with life. I got sent to Heaven's Gate, but he brought me back down here, gave me a second chance. I can already hear him. So, yep, I'm taking Bryce Mitchell to do that and then give himself a fucking sermon afterwards on the fucking microphone. So, give me Bryce Mitchell. Moving on to Cyril Gane and Alexander Volkov, which is a very interesting fight. Honestly, Volkov and Gane are like the same fucking fighter.
But one's taller, right?
One's taller. Volkov is taller. I think he's actually the tallest UFC guy on the roster, and he's got much more experience than Cyril Gane. Let me just tell you right here. Alexander Volkov is 38-10. This dude fights like a motherfucker. And even though he's like older, he still fights like hell. Yeah, he has an 80-inch reach and a 447.5-inch leg reach, which is insane. And now fucking Volkov, he's also good on the ground too. He Ezekiel choked Tai Tuivasa. You don't see Ezekiel chokes in the octagon all that often. So a guy can work on the ground, and the guy's got some like slept on power on the feet. Like nobody really likes to like. Everybody likes to say how like fluid he is, how much he moves. Nobody really tells you about Volkov's power. Volkov has like sneaky power, man. That dude can touch you and you can die. Like, it's that simple. And Cyril Gane, though. This guy moves like a fucking middleweight as a heavyweight. He's a very mobile fighter. Even when he's fighting, he's always bouncing around. He's never really standing still. He's always picking his shots. He's a well-rounded striker all around. He throws kicks. He throws punches. He throws knees. Even some clinch strikes. He'll throw some elbows. Volkov, more of a traditional kickboxer than anything else. He kind of just hands and feet, and that's about it. Doesn't really throw many knees or elbows, but he knows how to mix them all together. So, ultimately, this fight, and they're both coming off of wins. So, that's another big thing. But, despite Volkov being the taller fighter, 6'7", to Cyril Gane 6'4", Cyril Gane has a 1-inch reach advantage. 81 inches to Volkov's 80 inches. And, yeah, this is actually a really close fight than the odds are making it out to be. Right now, Cyril Gane's sitting as a comfortable favorite, minus 345.
Figured with him being former champion.
Interim champion, not even, but still. Minus 345 favorite and a plus 275 underdog for Alexander Volkov. I don't think that really does justice at all. I think it should more be like the Doo-Ho Choi and Nate Landwehr odds, like minus 142 to plus 120. I think these guys are much closer in skill than people make it out to be. And I think the UFC wants to market Cyril Gane more just because he's such a special fighter. Because I won't deny that he is a special fighter, but he's also kind of spoiled by his talent. Like, sometimes I feel like his heart isn't always in it. You know, I feel like he doesn't always fight with his heart.
Shows up for the paycheck.
Like, basically, I don't think his heart's in the game. I think his head's in the game, definitely. Like, the guy's a good fighter, but I don't think his heart's in it, and I don't like it when a fighter's heart isn't into it, you know? Because then it just seems to me like you're just here for the sake of being here, and you don't really give a fuck about this, and you're just going in there to be like, ugh, just another day, you know?
Check now? Sure.
And, yeah. So, I think this is a much closer fight than people are making it out to be, but I still think Cyril Gane's going to win. So, give me Cyril Gane by a TKO. Round 3.
I got Volkov for this. Is it a 3-rounder?
It's a 3-rounder.
Volkov round 2.
Round 2. I gotcha. I mean, he could very much win. So you guys, I honestly wouldn't think if you wanted to take bets. I mean, we're not a betting podcast. I don't even bet on shit. But I mean, if you wanted to take the risk, I don't think you have too much to worry about if you want to put money on Volkov. Because I think this fight's a lot closer than people make it out to be. I think it's going to be a war. That's why I called for a 3rd-round TKO, not even a KO. I think that's how it's going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, how it's going to wind down.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a war. I don't think it's going to be this nothingness or this total annihilation of Alexander Volkov, because I think Volkov is still a really good fighter despite his age. And he's really kept the longevity. Like, longevity is like a big thing for Volkov. He still fights extremely well, but he's been in so many fights. I mean, and this dude also, like, got knocked out by Derek Lewis, too. So, I mean, and he's still around. So, that's, like, the one UFC fighter I don't want to get hit by. I don't want to get hit by Derek Lewis. Although the more realistic one would be Ilya Taporia hitting me.
No.
Closer to my weight.
Adesanya's guy,
Pereira?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't want to get touched by him.
I don't want to get hit by his leg kicks.
I've seen 2 fingers knock someone out.
Yeah.
Just those 2.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, I'm taking Cyril Gane. 3rd-round TKO. You got Volkov.
Yep.
2nd-round KO.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be a KO, honestly.
What do you think it's going to be, TKO? Or you think he's going to submit him?
I think it might be a submission.
You think he might submit him? I mean, Volkov is good on the ground. He's really good on the ground.
That's actually why I'm leaning more towards him, because I believe they're both really fucking good fighters, but I think Volkov just has a little more
well-roundedness to him.
Yeah, a little more to him that he can use to edge out Gane. And I vouched for Gane before. Like, Gane was one of the first fighters I paid attention to, because he was heavyweight class, and they called him a real technical fighter. And I saw him fight Ngannou, and
he got ragdolled.
Yeah, yeah. And then
Did you see his fight against Derek Lewis?
No, I don't think I did.
That's a good fight. I'll have to show you it at some point. Cyril Gahn ends up on top, obviously, but the way he knocks out Derek Lewis is kind of insane.
And was Jones? Didn't Jones also fight Gunn?
Yeah, but it was like 2 seconds.
Yeah, I
Bro.
saw. I saw Jones fight Gunn, and Gunn's just like.
I think Gahn was mentally defeated before he even went into that fight.
And so when I take that into account with him and him being an interim champion, I'm like, I don't know. I think Volkov. I think he's got more heart in it.
Yeah.
That's why I went with him.
Yeah, because I think I even mentioned that about Cyril Gahn. I just don't think his heart's in it. His head's in it, definitely. He's a good fighter. He's a talented fighter.
Got interim champ.
I mean, he was interim champion, and the way that he got that interim belt was super impressive. I mean, I didn't want to see him lose. I didn't want to see Derek Lewis lose, but like the way he lost was like, I'd want to lose that way. Like somebody just had a perfect performance and just fucked me up. Like I'd want to lose that way. Like But the most ideal way that I'd want to lose would be like a Justin Gaethje. Got to go out by Max Holloway, swinging for the fences at the end.
Everyone's trying to recreate that.
Everybody's trying to recreate that shit now. I mean, you can't do it. You don't have the same charm. Like all these fighters are pointing at the ground and shit, like telling people to stand and bang. I'm like, you're not Max Holloway, okay? Like leave that to Max.
See, that's the thing too. They're all doing it because they want that hype, but a lot of the hype was just because it was a spur of the moment thing.
It was a spur of the moment thing, and that's just Max Holloway, man.
Like shit, I might not have this in the bag. Right here, right now. Let's go.
Nah, he was winning solidly, like 4-1. And, like, dude just fucking said, you know what? I could coast to a decision right now, but I'm not going to. I'm going to point down into the center of the octagon, and I'm going to go tit for tat with the hardest puncher at 155 and just see what happens. And then he fucking flatlines him. So, I mean, I'd want to lose in that way. I'd want to lose like Justin Gaethje. But, as much as I hate seeing Justin Gaethje lose, I love seeing Max win in that kind of way. So, I mean, ultimately, I wasn't losing either way that night. So, but that was UFC 300. That's almost a year ago now.
Well, we can also relate this to, I also think that helped extend Holloway's career. Not in the traditional sense, like, oh, it really boosted him or not. But now he's through at featherweight, you know? He decided that if he can, stand and bang with Gaethje, and if his shots at featherweight are slimming down more and more.
Totally slimmed down now.
Why the fuck not try moving up?
And plus, I think there's a lot of good fights from Max Holloway at 155.
And he can eat ramen.
And he can eat ramen now. That was his one complaint about the 145 camp when he was cutting down to go and face Ilya. He couldn't eat ramen. So bro was like, I'm happy I can eat ramen now. Because going into a 155 camp, you can eat a little bit more. But I think there's great fights for fucking Max at 155. Like,
but I don't think he had his heart at the 155 until he saw how well he was doing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he would have gone up again if he didn't beat Gaethje the way he did.
Exactly.
You know? So, and I think he was always planning on just winning that featherweight title back, but completely hell-bent on winning that featherweight title back, and got the featherweight title shot. He looked pretty good. Can't lie. He was doing pretty good against Topuria. Topuria was looking scared. He was getting outworked, and then Topuria just did what Topuria does best. He found the shot and puts you out.
You mean knock out our favorite fighters?
Yep, knock out our favorite fighters. The first person to fucking knock out Max Holloway in his illustrious career is Ilya Topuria. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, this dude's a problem. And, man, I have a strong feeling Ilya has a bright future ahead of him. I mean, he already has the title. So, like, how's his prime gonna go now? But, still. That was... Yeah, there's a lot of exciting fights from Max at 155. He can do Dustin again. Fuck it. I mean, he's already lost twice to Dustin, but that doesn't matter.
Let's have... say he only got 2 fights left in him?
Yeah, he can make that one of his fights. Fuck it. I still want Dustin's retirement fight to be against Gaethje. I think that's the best way for it to happen. And we're going off on a mad tangent here. We'll get back to the card in a minute. But, like, Dustin Poirier says he has 2 more fights on his contract. I think Dustin Poirier is going to fight out his contract. I'm happy he's not retiring. I'm happy I'm going to get to see him again at some point, you know. But I think after these 2 fights, he will be gone. He will be done forever, you know.
Plus, isn't, like, Budweiser paying him now?
Bud Light, yeah.
Bud Light,
Bud Light, Budweiser, same company. But, regardless, though, he can do Dustin again. And against Max, I'd want that to be one of the fights. Plus, that's just going to be a fun fight. Come on, who doesn't want to see Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway again? Come on. They knocked the house. They tore the roof off the place the first 2 times they did it. So why not one more time? You know. And then yeah, sure, Dustin got the win, but I don't give a fuck. Max could easily win now. I believe. I think it's anybody's game. And then I want his last fight to be against Justin Gaethje. I think that is like the ideal retirement. Let's go to Lafayette, Louisiana, or maybe not Lafayette. Let's go to fucking New Orleans, Louisiana. Let's go in the fucking dome that they got there. You know, their little their fucking arena, right? Let's have a main event, fight night, or fucking pay-per-view. That could be a pay-per-view main event, I think.
Definitely.
Let's do Gaethje Poirier 3. This one for all the marbles. Whoever wins, wins. Whoever loses, loses. And let's have them both retire. Like, right then and there. I think that's the way to go, honestly.
How many fights are on Gaethje?
Gaethje already said that he's almost done. And if he gets put out again, the same way he got put out against Max, he's done. So, I mean, I think Gaethje's only got like 2 fights left in him, too. Maybe just 1. Maybe he'll come back just for the Poirier fight, and that's it. But I wouldn't mind if he got a title shot, but I don't think he's going to get a title shot right now. I don't even see a clear direction for Justin Gaethje currently, besides Dustin Poirier again. I'm going to be honest. They're both coming off of losses, and they're probably not going to get another title fight. So, unless, like, miracles happen, and, like, the waters part and the sun shines and they get a title shot, you know.
Bright like a diamond.
Unless that happens again, which I don't think will, because I think the pathway at 155 is pretty clear right now. We have Arman and Islam. They're going to go at it for the belt at in January, and then Charles Oliveira is next. I mean, Charles Oliveira just got an impressive win over Michael Chandler, and you know, I think that's just the clear direction that we're going in right now. So the only direction that I see for Justin Gaethje is either Michael Chandler or Dustin Poirier again, and I think the more money fight would be him and Dustin Poirier, and that could be both of their last fights. Fuck it, that'd be my ideal situation. And Poirier and Gaethje just retire at the same time. My 2 favorites, my number 1 and 2, battle it and out one more time, and then laying the gloves down. You know, because even then, like, I'm gonna want Dustin to win, obviously. But if Gaethje wins, Gaethje won. You know, and yeah, that'll be that. But anyway, that's my fantasy booking for Dustin Poirier's end of his career, and exciting fights for Max Holloway. Because let's do it. You know, and then yeah, so back to 311. 310. 310. I keep saying 311 because I'm so excited for 311. But 310 hasn't even fucking happened yet. Shavkat Rakhmonov. Undefeated. Fucking, what is he? He's like 18-0 right now. Some bullshit like that. All of them by fucking finish. 9 submissions, 9 knockouts. This dude is as even as can be. He's a fucking problem in this weight class. He's such a problem, Shavkat. And then we have Ian, the future Gary, and he's 15-0, coming off of a big win over MVP, where he showed that he's not just a striker, and that he can wrestle, and wrestled MVP to death.
What's that silly guy doing, MVP?
I have no idea. There's no direction for him right now. Not even any, like, headlines saying where he's going to fight next. You know what I'm saying? So I have no fucking idea what's going to happen with MVP, but we'll see. I think he's going to fight again in 2025. I just don't know who he's going to go against. He's already gone against Kevin Holland. He went against Ian Gary. I'm trying to think of another big fight for him, and maybe Gilbert Burns. Maybe. But even then, that's a bit out there. Because I don't know what the fuck Gilbert Burns is up to after getting fucking slapped in his last fight. Oh, man. But, nah. So we have Ian Gary coming off of a win. Shavkat Rakhmonov coming over off of a win. I forget who he beat. Oh, yeah, he beat Stephen Thompson. The first person to submit Stephen Thompson was Shavkat Rakhmonov. And, yeah, Shavkat was, Shavkat's a problem. And the fact that he beat Wonderboy the way he beat Wonderboy, insane. So, and Ian Gary.
Steven, are you sure you don't have a personal bias for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson?
No, what are you talking about? I don't have a personal bias for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. What the fuck are you talking about? Not like he's my 3rd favorite fighter or anything.
You seem to be getting real defensive over that.
Hey, you know, well, what are you talking about?
he got some.
I know. was sad. But, fuck, it was impressive, though. God damn it, Shavkat, you're so good. I love that. But, nah, this dude's a fucking problem at welterweight right now. And Ian Gary has somehow found a way to win in every single one of his fights and looked good doing it. And in his last fight against MVP, he showed that he's more than just a striker and that he actually had some ground game, too. So he had that offensive wrestling going. He had some submission threats. He was doing pretty good, you know? And then, well, he ended up with the win. And now this fight is happening. Sad that Ian Gary did not get the Colby Covington fight. That was so dumb. I would have wanted to see that fight so bad.
Dude doesn't show up. I've been telling
Colby
you.
doesn't fucking show up. And it makes me very sad because I would have loved to see that fight. I think that's an excellent fight. I still want to see that fight. But Colby Covington's facing Joaquin Buckley now, and I don't like Covington's odds for that fight at all. But I still like Covington, don't get me wrong, but like the dude's just not doing it lately for me. And so, yeah. But, nah. So we got Ian Gary. He's got this fight now, and Shavkat Rakhmonov. I'm glad he didn't drop off of this card because I always want to see him fight. And the fact that he doesn't fight a lot, Shavkat. So, like, when he fights, it's kind of like a treat. You know what I mean? So I like seeing the fact that he's back and he's not away from the scene at all. And he's coming back with a pretty exciting, fight. Undefeated versus undefeated. Somebody's record's going bye-bye. And I think somebody's going to get finished, too. I think somebody's getting finished. Somebody's record's going bye-bye. And I think Ian Gary's undefeated record's going to go bye-bye. I love Ian Gary. Don't get me wrong. I'm actually one of the rare people that will, like, say that Ian Gary's really good. And I actually really like Ian Gary. And I'm excited to see what his future's like. But my guy's taking the L here, bro. Shavkat Rakhmonov is too much of a fucking problem. He's too much of a well-rounded fighter. More well-rounded than Ian Gary can imagine. So, skill for skill-wise, Shavkat Rakhmonov is the better fighter, and I think you would be safe betting your money on Shavkat Rakhmonov to absolutely end Ian Gary by whatever he wants. Honestly, whatever he wants. I mean, never count out Ian Gary because he's always bound a way to win fights even when it seems like he wouldn't win. That fight against Buckley really stands out for me when he almost got fucking ended, but then somehow found a way to win at the end. You know, that really stands out to me. But, I don't think, Gary's going to do too good here. He's the plus 295 underdog, and I think that's fair. I mean, Shavkat's the minus 375 favorite, and that's fair. So, give me Shavkat Rakhmonov by, let's see, it's a 5-round main event, co-main event, round 2. I'm going to say round 2, maybe even the end of round 1 submission for Shavkat. I think Ian Gary's just not gonna be able to fight with Shavkat.
I've got near the same reasons, but I'm going to say probably a knockout in round 1.
Knockout in round 1, yeah. I think this fight's going to be quick. I think
they don't want to go 5 rounds.
They ain't going to go 5 rounds. I think this fight's going to be quick. And
Shavkat's a little scarier to me than Gary.
Shavkat's a lot scarier than Gary. I mean, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't want to fuck with Ian Gary either. But, like, he's a good kickboxer. Crispy kickboxer. But that's his bread and butter, you know? Like, he's great if he's on the feet, but he's facing a well-rounded guy that's great both on the ground and on his feet and has more power than Ian Gary does in his hands and in his feet. So, I mean, yeah, I think Shavkat's way too much of a problem. And I think you're looking at your future welterweight champion in Shavkat Rakhmonov, and I think Ian Gary's going to be losing that undefeated record. I'm not going to count him out entirely, but I'm also kind of counting him out entirely. So, just because Shavkat's just fucking, he's a madman. He's a fucking wild man. But yeah, it should be an exciting fight regardless, though. Regardless of how long it lasts, it's not going to last very long. For the 1 or 2 rounds that it does last, it's going to be a crazy fight. Can almost guarantee it. But, yeah. Shavkat's going to keep his undefeated streak. He's going to keep his finish streak. Ian Gary's going to take the L here. And then our main event. A reigning, defending flyweight champion of the world, Alessandro Pantoja, versus a debuting former Rizin world champion, bantamweight champion, Kai Asakura. Now, Kai Asakura has traditionally fought at 135 when he was in Rizin. He's moving down to 125 and testing his luck. And he made the weight. He was 24.5 pounds at weigh-in. That was his official weight. He's rehydrating right now. He's a very, very crispy kickboxer, and he can also work on the ground. I don't think he works on the ground at the same rate that Alessandro Pantoja does, because Pantoja is just a fucking crazy when it comes to the ground, and even in the striking. So, I mean, it's going to be a good fight. This is going to be a fucking rough, wilding fight. I feel like these guys are going to go to fucking war. I think this fight's going to be very similar to how I think the Volkov and Cyril Gane fight's going to go. They're both very close in skill. They're both dogs. They're going to go tit for tat, and they're going to have a fucking war. And their skill sets are very similar. I've watched Kai Asakura, and I'm excited for his UFC debut. Getting a title shot his first time in the UFC, I was a little questionable at that at first, but then once I watched what he was doing in Ryzen, I saw how much of a swelling fan base he has in Japan. I'm like, okay, yeah, this guy belongs in the UFC. Plus, Pantoja has basically ran all the way through the flyweight division. He beat Moreno 3 times in his whole career, once in his title reign, and then he beat Steve Urseg, who was an up-and-coming, promising guy. And he fucking made... he didn't make quick work of him. Fucking dude put up a fight, Mr. Steve Urseg. But, he found a way, toughed it out at the end. And, like, Alessandro Pantoja has the heart of a champion. For real. The dude's gonna keep fighting. Every single fight that I watch this dude in, he's covered in blood. And somehow wins. So, I mean, the dude has heart. And he's got mad heart. And he's durable, too. I've seen him eat some fucking crispy shots from, Royval and Moreno. And he didn't go down, you know? And, I'm a little upset that Kai Kara France isn't in this title fight.
Really?
Isn't in this title fight because, like, he just won against Urseg back in August on the Drakus and Israel card. And, yeah, I felt like Kai was going to be the next person to fight for the title. But instead, they gave it to a Kai, but they didn't give it to Kai Kara France, they gave it to Kai Asakura. So, you know, but it makes sense. I mean, I think Dana White sees a lot of potential within Kai Asakura, plus the flyweight division is, like, in desperate need of somebody to be a star. You know, Pantoja is great, but he's not the most charismatic guy in the world. I'm gonna be honest with you. He ain't the most charismatic guy in the world, but he fights well. And I mean, I'm always a fan of your fighting does your talking, you know, but at the same time, you gotta talk. You have to be a character. You have to get people to give a shit about your fights. Because if you have a fight, nobody sees it. It didn't happen, yo. You know what I mean? So, it didn't happen, yo. So, if nobody gave a fuck about your fight, yeah, you fought for nothing, you know? And I don't think Pantoja has the star power that I believe Kai Asakura has. I saw how well loved he is in the Ryzen scene, and how many fans he's got. He got that whole country of Japan on his back, and we know how Mr. Dana White feels when you have a whole country on your back. He gonna push you to the fucking moon. So, but you know he is a former champion, well-rounded guy, and Alessandro Pantoja is the champion and a well-rounded guy. This fight's gonna be a fucking war. Pantoja is the minus 285 favorite to Kai Asakura's plus 230 underdog, and I think that's fucking dumb. I think they're discrediting Kai Asakura a little bit, the DraftKings people, because Kai Asakura is really good. But I'm gonna be honest, guys. I think Pantoja's gonna retain, but it isn't gonna be fucking easy. And I would not be shocked if Kai Asakura is the one to beat Alessandro Pantoja, just because how similar they are.
How old is Kai?
Kai Asakura is we're getting there. Hold on. Almost there. He doesn't have much of a profile. Because he's making his debut. 13 wins by knockout, 3 by submissions, 12 first round finishes. 31. 31. Pantoja, 8 wins by knockout, 10 wins by submission, 11 first round finishes. And he is 34. Kai is younger. And I think they are doing a disservice to Kai Asakura by putting him as such a... I don't want to say hefty underdog, because it's not really a hefty underdog, but as big of an underdog as he is, because I think Kai Asakura is dangerous. So, I think he's going to put up a fight. I got Pantoja to retain, but barely. I think it's going to be a tough fight, and I wouldn't be shocked. I'm calling for Pantoja right now, but would not be shocked that if on fight day I get this feeling, and that feeling is like a deja vu, and Kaya Sakura wins. So, take Pantoja for now, but opinion will be swayed, more than likely.
So, for me, see, the thing is, I don't know much about Kai. And had you talked to me this morning, I would have said Pantoja's going to sweep. But I was talking to some people at work today, and they were like, a lot of the problems with some of the fighters that they see is that when they make it to UFC, they're already past their prime because they're making a name for themselves somewhere else in some other promotion, trying to get noticed, trying to make moves and whatnot. And usually when they make the moves, when they become like champion and whatnot, they go to UFC because UFC sees them and they're already past their prime. They've already had a championship and whatnot. And I see
this dude's still in his prime.
I see a lot with like former LFA champions and whatnot, former Cage Warriors champions.
Those are usually the new and uppercomers, though. Those are like the tiny MMA promotions.
Usually they'll grab them, and then since they've already done so well there, it seems like they don't do, like they're overshadowed.
Yeah.
They're put in the sun or the spotlight of the UFC fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually going to say Kai is going to pull this off.
Yeah, you know, Pantoja, I'm not going to be shocked if he does. I'm going to be honest with you. Because, I mean, Pantoja's been through some wars, man.
Yeah.
He's been through some wars. He's taken some damage.
He's struggled. He's a lot more human than, let's say, Patera and all those guys, you know?
Yeah.
He's not as big a Superman as those guys are. Which I like, because I like seeing someone who has a chance against you try to win.
And I like seeing the heart of the champion if you somehow come out with the win.
I think it enhances the fight, because you know what's on the line. You don't know you have it in the bag and whatnot. So that's why I'm going to say Kai.
And I'm not going to be shocked, because I won't be surprised that if on fight day, my prediction goes out the window, and on fight night when we're saying who do you think's going to win, would not be surprised if my opinion changes to Kaya Sakura.
Yeah, guys, after these podcasts we do, we also just, while we're on the couch, after, waiting for the fights to start, we do our own predictions then about who we think is going to win, based on how we're feeling
on that day.
Yeah, if like, we hear something, or, like, maybe they seem sluggish coming to the ring, or, like, he's seen me call out people in the ring that I would have backed 100%, and I'm like, I don't like how they're looking right now. It doesn't look like they're fighting to win. It doesn't look like they think they got this.
The opinion changes. Like when Leon walked out against Bilal, bro, he didn't look good.
No, not at all.
I said that Leon was going to fucking spark him on the podcast. But then on fight day, when I saw Leon walking out, after Bilal walked out, he had all this energy pent up. He was like ready to fucking go. I was like, oh no. I think Leon might be fucked.
It kind of looked like he had a bad cut or some shit.
Probably a bad cut, or...
It's different on the day, like, seconds before it's happening, you know?
Like, we can say all the bullshit we want on these podcasts, and we can be as bold and brash as we want, mostly because that's what I like to do on here. Because, it just gets views, but, and gets interaction. I love the comments, all of them. So,
if you upload them.
Yeah, if I upload them. I've been slacking a little bit lately. But, college sucks.
I'm gonna have him upload it as soon as we're done, by the way.
That's a good idea. Because it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
So,
like, you missed out on that, Survivor Series, War, whatever.
War Games. Yeah. I missed out on that War Games podcast, and usually I do podcasts for the Big Four pay-per-views.
And that was with my partner, co-host over there.
Gavin.
You all know Gavin.
Yeah. He's the one I do all the wrestling episodes with, just because Gavin, the reason why I have two different co-hosts is because, like, Anthony's much better with UFC than he is with WWE. And Gavin's much more better with WWE than he is with UFC. But obviously we'll have moments where, like, when WrestleMania comes around, we'll do, like, a three-way podcast, and then, because then we're all paying attention to WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania. I mean, I'm wearing my WrestleMania t-shirt right now from Philly. So, I mean, that we'll do it for, like, special events, but to be honest, man, most of the time, it's not any personal bias. I'm sure Anthony, if I wanted to put him on the Survivor Series podcast, he would have done it.
Yeah.
But,
I was just like, refresher course, what happened?
Refresher course on what happened story? Yeah.
What happened this week? Who got hit?
Yeah, who got hit? Who's in the match?
Oh, McIntyre came back. And he Claymore freaking...
Claymore Sami Zayn?
Okay, alright.
When Gavin is just like me and keeps up with it every week. So that's the only reason why I do it that way. That's why we have two different co-hosts. But I think it's a good thing though. You know, he got multiple people for multiple things, and maybe in the future I'll have an entertainment guy with me, and then you only have to worry about UFC. Gavin only has to worry about WWE, and I can have my entertainment guy only worry about the entertainment. You know. We have a studio audience right now.
Yeah,
we got a pretty big one.
Volunteers.
We have a volunteer. My cousin Austin is saying I'll do the entertainment podcast. So maybe that's in the future. We'll see. But yeah. I don't know. I don't got much.
That might be it for this, right?
I think that might be it for this one, guys. So yeah, keep in mind our predictions could change when we're sitting down on the couch. So all of this shit that we're saying right now might not be the exact same on fight day. I think that's the thing that I got to take away from this. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and deuces! Oh, fucking... There it is.